Thunder Road is a comedic dramedy film about a good-hearted and skillful, but deeply flawed and socially awkward police officer who lives a mismanaged life, only to be made much worse by a personal meltdown he has to face following a divorce and the passing of his mother. More or less a victim of circumstance rather than an actual troublemaker, he is unable to change his life for the better, so his only stability comes in the form of his daughter, who just started the 4th grade, for whom he tries to be the best father he can possibly be. Written, directed and performed by the very talented and very charming Jim Cummings, it's very interesting to see how this film came into existence. It actually all started with an idea for a short film of his back in 2016, a dramatic comedy filmed in a single uninterrupted take, I might add. It was just a simple dramatic comedy about a small-town cop eulogizing his mother at her funeral by singing and dancing to the Bruce Springsteen song Thunder Road and just completely fucking it up in the most awkward and embarrassing way imaginable. Nobody even really wanted to fund this film in the very first place, even hearing myself say all of that, I guess it's no wonder why anyone would raise an eyebrow when hearing this idea. All of these elements mixed together, a cop, a funeral, losing a parent, Bruce Springsteen, fucking up. How can all those things mix together? But Jim Cummings definitely proved with his short film and now with this feature-length film that he is an absolute master when it comes to writing, directing, and especially performing very memorable, very believable, very effective, cringeworthy humor, mixed very well with legitimately heartfelt drama. As far as cinematic techniques go, he primarily uses long zoom takes, uninterrupted shots, heavily focused on performance and character development, complicated camera movements with very diverse actions within scenes that capture small and subtle moments, gestures, and reactions of characters, making the viewer feel very present. Sometimes the camera will just focus on one minor character doing something small that might not even seem so relevant when taken out of context, but it fits perfectly within the framework and within the themes of the film. So as far as cinematic language and purposefulness go, this filmmaker really owns his craft. But how do all these elements fit together so nicely? Well, first and foremost, he wanted his main character to be this sort of figure of authority, to be this guy who really has to be a certain way all the time, who really has to be this tough guy all the time, and then take that character and just have his whole world collapse, have his whole world around him fall apart, and really show his vulnerability, really show his fragility, and really show him having a hard time dealing with his feelings, really show him having a hard time connecting with people, really show him struggling with just simply having to be a human being. So the main character ended up being a cop, and it just goes to show how transparent the time period when a film is made can be. Because this was 2016, and apparently everyone in the United States in 2016 was talking about the police. I think there were some cases of police brutality or police shootings going on at the time, and so this filmmaker really thought that this was going to be a perfect way for him to wedge himself into the middle of the conversation. Having his main character be a police officer, ridiculing him, but also humanizing him at the same time. And the Bruce Springsteen song? Well, apparently it was chosen because this main character is supposed to be someone with a very humble and very modest background. He's a good cop, sure, but he's not necessarily rich. He doesn't have a lot of money. He comes from a small town, and apparently Bruce Springsteen is considered to be the sort of songwriter for the everyman. He's not necessarily the sort of artist for the elite. And he also tends to sing about and to sing for and to sing to the average Joe, the average regular working class people, singing about the struggles, the dissatisfactions, and the dismay of the working class. And also his songs tend to be much more about, not necessarily about not having what you want, but a lot more about wanting what you have. Come to think about it, I think this film is even more inspired by Bruce Springsteen than I initially thought. And we do actually have minor characters show up in this film for individual scenes. For example, there's this restaurant owner who's just fed up with his life and is during a moment is about to do something incredibly drastic. There's this very young girl who is incredibly just bored out of her mind in this small town, working class. And even the main character, this police officer, he is actually an incredibly humble guy. He doesn't have a lot, but he really appreciates and he really actually loves what he has, his job, his mom, his daughter, and he also becomes incredibly disheartened when he loses or when he is about to lose either one of those. It's very interesting that in the beginning of the film, during the funeral scene, Jim actually mentions having a brother and a sister, both of them who are missing from the funeral. So you would probably think that they were not very close with their mother, but even Jim, despite being very emotionally drained, hints at the fact that he was not very close with his mother. And later on in the film as well, there are also hints at the fact that he probably probably regrets, sort of, that he didn't spend enough time with his mother, that he didn't appreciate her enough, didn't appreciate the things she did for him enough. And this narrative thread will have a major payoff later on when he will eventually go visit his sister, and then she will reveal the reasons for being absent at the funeral. And it's very touching. It's very real. It's a very emotional, without being a tear-jerking scene. It's very good stuff. And that's what's so very fascinating about this film, is that every single character feels so incredibly human. Every single character has this sort of side to them that you wouldn't expect to see, except Jim, except the main character, who, precisely because of the fact that he is so goofy and so crazy, he really, despite the fact that he's not completely honest with himself, he still thinks he has to play this role of being this tough guy. All of the other characters, and even us as the viewers, we completely see through his bullshit. And when all the bullshit is gone, you really understand, and even Jim really understands, that all he really cares about, all he truly wants, is what's best for his daughter. And I think that's the main theme of this film. It's parenthood, basically. And the film does such an excellent job at being a story about losing a parent, in the beginning at least, and then turning into a story actually about becoming a parent. And the film really tries to show every little aspect about parenting, like trying to keep up with the games your kid likes, what's the new fad, trying to keep up with the friends she has, trying to accept the realization that she will slowly stop being a kid and start being an adolescent. Very important stage. And also talking about minor characters showing up for individual scenes that have relevance within the wider context of the film. There was this great scene with this kid being taken away by some cops, and this woman, who is not his mother, mind you, punishing him, hitting him in the head with a shoe. And it just goes to show you that is how the world is, basically, isn't it? I mean, there are parents, and then there are parents who have to be parents and to take care of other people who might not have parents. Something that might not have come across so well in my review is just how funny this film is. I mean, this film really does a great job at being this sort of balancing act between comedy and drama. And this is in no small part thanks to Jim Cummings' performance, who is absolutely incredible. He feels like the sort of combination between, let's say, a Chaplin maybe a little bit, and the sort of like this subdued Jim Carrey. And there's a little bit of concerned Napoleon Dynamite in him, and even a little bit of Borat as well, I think. I absolutely love this film. I've seen it twice already, and I will probably see it again very soon. I would highly recommend it. So my question to you guys would be, what are some of your favorite dramatic comedies, tragic comedies, or whatever you want to call it? What are some of your favorite comedies with very tragic elements within them? I'm really curious to know about your answers. Don't forget to leave them down below. Thanks for watching my review. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And what can I say? I'll see you guys later in the next review. Thanks for watching so much. I'll see you later. Goodbye.